Earlier today, Ajay Makhan of the Congress media cell said pyre of many victims of this natural calamity is still warm. First, BJP tried to take credit of evacuating 15,000 in a day. While he was saying that, he still took a pot shot at the BJP, and that's what's been happening over the course of the day. On a day when the rescue effort in Uttarakhand has come to an end, there are still villages upon villages, as you've seen on the news night this evening and all these days that we've been covering the Uttarakhand crisis. There are villages that perhaps might not be able to recover in the next coming few years, not even days or months or weeks. But the politicians continue to bicker, and this time out in the open in Twitter land. Joining us on the debate this evening, or whether the politicians have exposed their hypocrisy by openly bickering over a tragedy, we have Kiran Bedi, social activist and former IPS officer, a formidable charge from the BJP. We have Captain Abhimanyu, and we also have Sambit Patra, and we would be joined by the Congress's Priyanka Chaturvedi, who's going to have a very hard time this evening battling with two BJP stalwarts. But I'm going to start with Kiran Bedi, you. Because at this point, clearly you are watching it from perhaps how an average Indian is watching this entire bickering happening in the Twitter space and then spilling out into the open public space. Are you surprised at all by what the politicians from either the BJP or the Congress or any other party for that matter are doing?
To my mind, the mistake started from day one of the tragedy. This was a national tragedy and not just an Uttarakhand tragedy. This is not a political tragedy but a national tragedy again. And therefore, naturally every Indian from any part of India would be concerned. And so would all politicians of all hues would be concerned. After all, they owe their survival to their voters, to their people, to their own constituencies. So everybody had a constituency there. There were people from all the states, in the pilgrimage. So to my mind, the mistake number one started, and I tweeted then itself, that had the political leadership who's in charge of the state said that this is a national tragedy, friends, this is the time when the planes will go, you can all combine, tell me who all will be coming, we can make joint sortie, which means not one-to-one, but you can be 5-6 people. That means 5-6 chief ministers of any political party could have flown together. Which means they could have brought in a sense of unity and treated it as a national tragedy where every country, every Indian person is at grief today, and done it together. You would have stemmed this problem right from the very beginning. Thereafter, they could have allocated that such time there would be a joint sortie. You book and we will go first come first basis. Had they done this, that means the initiative lay at the leader of the state, political party of that state, because after all this is his state. Like in this state, in this case, right, it is Mr. Bahuguna's state. So it is Mr. Bahuguna who has to plan, or the central leadership could have taken over, said this is the way we would like to look at national tragedy. Similarly in the rehabilitation, since every political party has a stake, they will do what they saying because this is their survival. Why can't they again make it a united rehab and a united recovery? Why not? Otherwise they will all compete. So I think the problem is in the whole approach, that it has to be an inclusive rehabilitation and an inclusive recovery. Until they do that, we will continue to suffer the way we are suffering.
Well, perhaps that's how the average Indian feels, but you're talking of a political utopia that's very hard to imagine, Ms. Bedi, under the current circumstances, and I'd like to welcome Priyanka Chaturvedi at this point. Priyanka, it's quite interesting to me and a lot of people who've been watching this entire debate on Twitterati and the political bickering as it's being called. It was first the Home Minister, then it was Mr. Digvijay Singh, apart from a lot of other Congress leaders who came out and said that top leaders or politicians should not make a beeline to Uttarakhand at this point because primarily it hampers rescue operations. So stay away from Uttarakhand. Then Mr. Manish Tiwari goes ahead and says that both leaders of opposition, Ms. Sushma Swaraj as well as Mr. Arun Jaitley, are busy criticizing Congress but they're not visiting Uttarakhand. So what is the Congress trying to do? Is it confused, or are you just trying to take pot shots for the heck of it?
No, there is absolutely no confusion here. What he was trying to say is pretty clear, that we haven't heard from the leader of opposition from both sides, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, in the 15 days. Forget talking about visiting. They haven't spoken one positive word or spoken about the calamity. And today when Sushma ji chose to spoke on Twitter, again the divisive and negative ideology was shining right through all her tweets.
No, Priyanka, I'll have to come back to you on that, but I have both BJP leaders who are on this panel. I'm going to start with Sambit Patra. Go ahead, sir.
No, look, if you look at the chronology of the sludge fest that has begun, I believe the ball would rest at the doorstep of the Congress, because the chronology rightly was pointed by you. But my sister from the Congress is saying that, in fact, Manish Tiwari was saying all that the Twitterati meant was that both the leaders from the opposition were silent on the issue. Let me remind my sister from Congress that the Prime Minister, the main problem in this country presently is there's a great vacuum in the central leadership of the country. A humongous disaster, the cataclysm that struck the country in Uttarakhand, in fact, was so humongous, was so large that the country expected the topmost leadership to react immediately, to declare it as a national disaster and to show solidarity with the people of this country. But ironically, that was missing. And I believe the problem started when Mr. Narendra Modi, with his humane face, landed in Uttarakhand and did his best to save the people out there in Uttarakhand, and he delivered his best. The problem started then that in fact Congress realized that what they should have done, what the Prime Minister of the country should have done, in fact Narendra Modi has already done it. And that is why this slugfest in the Twitterati, and that is why this problem with the spokespersons of Congress as well.
Okay, that's one point that is being raised by the BJP. Priyanka, I'm going to come to you in just a minute, but I want to get Captain Abhimanyu into it. So you are saying that this is essentially a huge breakdown as far as the Congress is concerned. In the name of accountability, I'm going to go ahead and give that point to you as far as this particular, when you talk about accountability of the Congress party, whether at the state level or the center is concerned. But here's what Sushma Swaraj said earlier today, and I want you to hear it and then react to it. She said the truth is that I woke you up. And I'm going to underline that I woke you up about the scale of the tragedy when I spoke to Home Minister on the 18th of June. Now, if you're going to point out wherever the government is going wrong, understandable. But why start taking credit? That's the part which clearly exposes your hypocrisy.
No, good that you pointed this out, and it explains what